What's up guys, Shawnthebro here, and we're back for another episode of the Super Smash Brothers and Platform Fighter tutorial series. In today's episode, we are going to be going over Item Frequency Part 2. In the previous episode of the series, what we did was create different levels of item frequency that we could show to the player on our menus, or we could use internally as developers to change how frequently our items spawn. But right now, we just have an arbitrary delay of, I believe it's 5 seconds, and every 5 seconds spawn a new item. In today's episode, we are going to use those ranges that we set up and those values that we set up to actually determine the frame at which an item should be spawned. Once we have that information, we can then go ahead and change our logic that spawns the item every 5 seconds to instead spawn the item on that given frame. And that will allow us to completely control our system for our different items. That's exactly what we want, because we don't want to just make the items random and then not have any control over it. We want to be able to tweak it as both the developer and the player so that we can get a better feel for our game. But before we hop into today's episode, if you want to get caught up in the entire series, you can check out how we've done things like our items, our one-way platforms, our different attacks, our collisions, our character select screen, and a whole lot more. I'll link you to the entire playlist of the Super Smash Brothers and Platform Fighter tutorial series right here in the top right corner. Alternatively, if you don't care about all that and you only care about the item frequency, you don't have to follow the whole series to follow these episodes, but I do recommend you watch the previous episode where we set up those different levels for our item frequency, as that's going to be very useful for today's episode because we're going to be using those different tiers and those different frame numbers to determine our actual frame to spawn the item for today's episode. I'll link that episode right here in the top right corner. With that out of the way, we can go ahead and get started. This is a code and blueprint tutorial series. We're dealing with our logic of the item spawning, which is going to be done in the game mode, using some things from our game instance, which means this is going to be in code. We're spawning our items in the blueprint, so there may be some modifications there as well. Starting out, let's go to our code. And let's go specifically to base game instance CPP and base game instance.h. This is our overridden game instance class for our game, base game instance.h. If we scroll down through our enums, we created one in the previous episode called item frequency level. These are the tiers I was talking about. So we have none to spawn no items, low to spawn few items, mid to spawn a medium amount of items, and high to spawn the most items. And really this is spawning those items at that given rate. So this item frequency level is going to come in handy. And then scrolling down, we have a variable of this in our game instance. Then going back to our game mode, and specifically the SSB template game mode.cpp and SSB template game mode.h. Scroll down in SSB template game mode.h, and you'll see that we have variables in here for the low number and the high number, or the min number and the max number of frames to spawn items when in this specific item level frequency. These numbers are also going to be very important. And then lastly, we have frames until item spawn, which is the number of frames until an item is spawned. And that will allow us to visualize it, track it, and actually spawn an item when that runs out. Then in SSB template game mode.cpp, we set up all the default values for the number of frames for each variable. Now what we need in our SSB template game mode is a way to calculate the specific number of frames that between that range, and also randomized, because we don't want it to be the same one every time. We don't want it to be every 800 frames if it's for mid, just because that's the middle of 600 and 1000. It could be 700 or it could be 999. But whatever the case, we need a function to calculate that. So back in SSB template game mode.h, I am going to scroll down to my private section, and I'll go below my cheat function here for setting the damage counter. We'll make a new function. This can be int calculate number of frames until item spawn. And let's actually just call it calculate frames until item spawn. That way it's a little bit more concise. Calculate the number of frames until the next item is spawned. And now we have a function for this. So if we go to SSB template game mode.cpp, I'll scroll down all the way to the bottom. I'll put it above my tick function because I like to keep my tick function at the bottom for easy usage. That's just a little thing I like to do. You don't have to follow along with that. But regardless, go to where you want to create your function. I'm going to say integer a SSB template game mode : calculate frames until items spawn. Here is where we determine, based on our item frequency level, how many frames until this item is spawned. And we're going to use the built-in random functions to accomplish this. But to do that, we need to know our highs and our lows. And we already have that information as well. That's what we set in the constructor of the game mode up above for all of our minimums and maximums. And they're all integers. So let's just go in here and make integer frame min. And we'll say frame min is 0 and int frame max equals int max. And the reason we're doing this is because I want to determine which frequency level we are, set these variables to the corresponding frequency level variables, and perform the math on these two variables. So the next thing to do is determine how many frames we have minimum and maximum. And to do that, we're going to grab the base game instance frequency level, and we'll perform a switch statement on it. So first, let's get our game instance. So if u base game instance pointer base game instance equals cast u base game instance get game instance. So what we're doing here is getting the game instance set up on this project, casting it to our type, and then setting it to this variable so we can store it. If this variable is set correctly, that means we were able to cast our game instance to this type, and that means we will go into the if statement. If not, we won't go into this if statement. Inside of the if statement, we want to perform our switch. So switch statement, switch on base game instance, arrow, and we're going to need our item frequency level. So switch on item frequency level means we can have case of e item frequency level, : e underscore none, : and in here is where we do our logic for if item frequency level is none. One thing we could do is just set frame min equal to int max, so the farthest possible number of frames, and frame max equals int max, so also the farthest number of possible frames. And we can also put our cases in curly braces if we want. Some people like to do that. Some people find that messy. It's up to you. I go back and forth depending on how much logic is in my case, but this time we will. So e item frequency level, : e underscore low. Here is where we're going to set frame min equal to low frequency min frames. Then frame max is equal to low frequency max frames. Then we have case e item frequency level, : e underscore mid. Frame min equals mid frequency min frames, and frame max equals mid frequency max frames. And lastly, we have case e item frequency level, : e underscore high. And in here, it's frame min equals high frequency min frames, and frame max equals high frequency max frames. Then after this, we have default. The default case if our case doesn't fall into any of the ones that we've listed here. And for that, we can do the same as none if we want to, or something else. I think we can just do the same as none because it should fall into one of these cases. So int max for frame min, and frame max is also int max. Now, if you did use curly braces for your cases, I like to tab them in here just so that it's a little bit easier to read. And additionally, in a switch statement, you should break after each case if you don't want the following logic to occur. What I mean by that is when we go into the switch statement, we will take the first case that is equivalent to whatever we passed in here. So if item frequency level is low, it will skip over none and go to case low here. It will do the logic in low, and then it will continue and do all the logic in mid and all the logic in high. What you need to do is type break after each case that you don't want this to occur for, which is usually most of them. But sometimes you do want your switch statement to spill through or fall through or go between cases. And a perfect example of this is our default case and our E item frequency level here, because none and default do the same. So for example, if we move the item frequency level none down to the bottom here, we don't need to type break, and really we don't need to do anything in this section. So I'll just have case E item frequency level none and default, and they'll both do the same thing. That will condense your switch statement, keeping all the same behavior that you set up. You don't have to do it that way, so set it up however makes sense to you. But regardless, at this point, our frame min and frame max should be set to a default value under every case. And actually, our frame min, when we're constructing it, I'm just going to make that int max too, because this will essentially mean that we need to get one of these values before we can use this. And int max is going to be so far in the future, we're not going to worry about it. So if we see items spawning, we know that we probably calculated a proper value. Now below the if statement for the base game instance, we can add an else statement. And the reason we may want to do this is because if we can't get our base game instance for any reason, we may still want to spawn items, and we still want to spawn them more frequently than int max. What we could do is arbitrarily pick a value that we want to spawn them at. Like say E mid is our default. So for whatever reason, if we can't get our base game instance, we can still set frame min equal to mid frequency mid frames, and frame max equals mid frequency max frames. This is another thing you don't have to do, but it is a safeguard in case something goes wrong with our game instance. We'll very likely have bigger problems if we have an issue with our game instance. I like to add fallbacks wherever I can. Use the mid frequency as the default if the game instance isn't properly retrieved or isn't able to be retrieved. Now all of our cases are covered, and what we want to do is go below this, and we want to do our actual math for calculating the frame, because we have our min and we have our max. So the next thing that we want to do is throw these values into a random function. Int next item spawn frame equals fmath : rand range. This takes in a minimum and a maximum, and we pass in frame min, frame max. Now this will automatically do the work for us to calculate this random number. And what we'll want to do next is log out this value. So UE log temp, that's our default log or our output log in the editor. The next thing is the verbosity. So this is essentially the logging category. If it's error, that means it's a big deal. It'll display in red text. If it's a warning, it's a minor issue, but it will display in yellow text. If it's a log, just kind of information that could be useful, it'll display in white text. Let's keep it as a log. Then we have our text macro, which is what we actually want to print out. And I like to print out the class name and the function name at the start of the log. So SSB template game mode : calculate frames until item spawn : That way I can look at a log and know exactly where it's coming from. Then we can print out our actual log, which is going to say the next item will be spawned on frame %d for decimal. And when we put %d or % and an identifier in the log, that means we can add a comma after the parentheses and pass in a parameter. We're going to pass in next item spawn frame. This is just going to calculate that random frame number. That way we know that we're in the right range. At this point, I am going to relaunch. And I got build errors because this returns an integer. It returns the next item spawn frame, and I didn't return anything. So down at the bottom here, return next item spawn frame. But while we're stopped here, let's also make sure we're calling this function, because we don't actually call it anywhere. And we do need to call it somewhere. There's more to do with this to determine where we should call it, but we could call it in tick for a quick test. I don't recommend that we actually leave it here, but just for today's episode, let's call calculate frames until item spawn. And if we can just set frames until item spawn equal to it, that's our variable that we have in here that we were already decrementing in here. The editor is back open. If we go to our output log and clear it, then launch our game. Tick is going to be running immediately, and it will automatically be calculating our values. As I said, we shouldn't really do this in Tick. This is just an example. So because of that, it's going to be spamming the log. But what we can do now is stop our game and take a look at the log. You should see this log printing with tons of data. The default frequency level that we put for our game is mid. You can find this in the base game instance.cpp constructor. Item frequency level is mid. So when we go to our game mode and look at the mid frames, that's between 600 and 1000. Every single log that you see in this output log should be between 600 and 1000. And you can see that they are. Our math is working perfectly. The next step is to make sure that we actually spawn an item when that many frames have passed since calculating this frame number. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode on calculating item frequency in your Super Smash Brothers and Platform Fighter game. If you did, please subscribe and consider joining the Patreon, YouTube membership, and Discord subscriptions to help benefit the channel. It really helps me out a lot and I appreciate it. Thank you so much to everyone who has. You're all amazing. If you ran into any problems following this tutorial or any of my tutorials, feel free to join the Discord community. There is a link in the description. I would be happy to help you out. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Shawnthebro, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.